Thank you. That was very interesting. So we're going into more political discussions here in the afternoon. I love it. And we're just continuing with it. Our next speaker will be Jules Spinatsch. He's a photographer. Many of you probably know him. He grew up in Davos, not far away from here, and probably I don't have to explain you Davos. And he has shown his work internationally. And he actually became famous for his very large-scale panorama, and each of these panorama consisted of several thousand individual images which were recorded with programmed cameras. But in this afternoon, he's not going to talk about this panorama, but he talks about Davos, which has been in the news in the last days, because it has turned into this mind-blowing place and mind-boggling place too. And I would say the same thing can be said about his photography, which is also mind-boggling and kind of shocking from the content, and also formally extremely accomplished. So it is a very good example of how form and political engagement or activism come together and actually need each other to be efficient. Please give a warm welcome, big round of applause for Jules Spinatsch. Thank you very much. Huh?
Hello, thank you for reminding me here. It feels a bit odd to be here just a day after the World Economic Forum in Davos finished yesterday, and after Friedrich Merz said, "We have entered a new era, the era of a new imperialism, with now 3 big blocs and some middle states." The day before, the Canadian Prime Minister said, for the middle states, we have to stand together, we have to be at the table. If we are not on the table, we're on the menu. But anyway, I will tell you something about the 2 previous areas. In 2001, I began a work in Davos that led to 2 books and many exhibitions. Just as a quick historic reminder, in 1999, 10 years after the end of the Cold War, protests against the negative effects of globalization started in Seattle and grew into a big movement. So the World Economic Forum and also G8 summits became places that were turned into high security zones due to the globalization protests. My research I show very briefly this first book that came out in 2005, won Best Book Prize in art 2005, is a research in 5 different cities, Davos, Genoa, New York, Avion, Geneva, due to the summits. My research was not the WEF itself, it was the security situation, and first of all, it was an examination about how can I produce independent imagery which is not from embedded journalists, not from the press, not from the organizers, not from the police. So how can I establish new photographs, and which ones? I go very quickly through. This was Davos before, an overview, CNBC in the middle, inside the fence zone, in the woods, a protest in in Genoa. Some views from the exhibition at the MoMA. We see the image from New York. Then what Daniel said before, this is the panorama work. I worked in this chapter with programmed cameras with an engineer. So you see here 2,156 images taken over 3 hours and collected into 1 big panorama. So it splits the image plane into 2,156 moments, but spatially it is flawless, but it is very speculative in terms of what runs through the frame in that particular moment. Last chapter was in Geneva. This chapter was called A Revolution Marketing and shows the shift between the protesters' logos or from the global brand logos to the protesters' logos. Now let's have some fun with Davos.
Jules Spinatsch. Lars Muller Publishers. Davos Is a Verb. A trip deep into a temporarily built parallel universe of corporate showrooms, an annual transformation phenomenon that emerged in Davos after the last financial crisis in 2009. Jules Spinatsch, Davos-born artist insider and outsider at the same time, takes us along the light and message-flooded promenade road during the 2020 World Economic Forum and the climate protest in the Swiss Alps. Stores, bars, hotels, churches and museums are hosting parties, talks, press conferences or spiritual sessions for finding the inner self, the next disruptive technology or connecting with others for a planetary upgrade. With a sharp essay by British author and ecological economist Tim Jackson recounting his visit to Davos.
So 15 years after I did the first book, I went to the publisher Lars Muller again and told him, look, I want to add a new chapter or a new book to the previous, meanwhile well-known one, because in Davos something fundamental has changed. Before, Davos was, by the way, the term fortress for Davos was never and is not correct. Davos is the Congress Center, which is fenced individually, so are 4 hotels. So the long stretch of 3 kilometers where all the hotels are along the promenade, these magazines and shops are now converted into temporary shops, stores, representations of organizations, and so on. So this, before the financial crisis, was not the case. So what we see now, I show you a few examples of this transformation, this assault-like transformation of Davos, which happened within 2 weeks. And after the World Economic Forum, 1 week later, everything has to be gone again. So more than half of the stores along this promenade are really converted or extended with pavilions for countries, companies, or organizations. Some spaces or even buildings are left empty. Some have only rented out them for 11 months. So in January, they can be rented out very easily. And some of them earn the whole rent of the year almost in those few weeks. Even luxury stores like this one was a Bucherer jewelry shop. Even that one went out for January. These images were taken in 2020, just ahead of the Corona lockdown, which was then, of course, not yet known in the mid-January 2020. My first approach or first idea was that I told also the editor, look, I want to make it a little bit like Ed Rocher, every building on Sunset Boulevard, or something like Learning from Las Vegas, except that the sign is not away from the shop, from the building, or Delirious Davos, for obvious reasons. So even a souvenir shop that would normally attract many tourists was converted into a pavilion for an Indian region. And then I immediately found out, okay, this strategy doesn't work because you have no time. It's much too busy, too many people, so you can't really focus on photographing in a proper way with a tripod. The outside of these facades. So I changed concept, went back to my photojournalist past, and thought, okay, I want to go everywhere. I want to mingle in. I want to infiltrate my own hometown because, as it said in the film, I was an outsider inside, and inside and outside at the same time. I grew up in Davos. I don't live there anymore, but I know people. I know the city. I know how the WEF works. I also had a letter from the city of Davos confirming that I'm taking photographs around the WEF as I have done it for the previous book. So this gave me some sort of officiality. At the same time, this I find interesting, is like that gravity is confirming this argument, this heavy argument. Former boutique changed for the Nasdaq. IKEA, by the way, is the only. So the companies that are assembling in Davos at that time, this is mainly financing, technology, new media, but not companies for consumer products. So IKEA even was a little bit an exemption. So the editors for this display are the CEOs of all these companies that go to the WEF. And these companies sometimes are even the same that are in the WEF and doing their representations outside. But what is important, all these sites for this transformation, by the way, this is the church where Donald Trump was holding his House of America, announcing his peace troop. Here, an image, something like the decisive moment. This cross does only exist through the camera. And that INRI, the Rex, is also present from a reflection outside. And the genetic code is visible. So this is an image that has some, I think, also iconic qualities. What I wanted to say is that the whole stretch on the promenade is a non-exclusive place. Everybody can go there. It is not true that Davos is a fortress, as I said. Everybody can go there to ski. Of course, there's high security in the air. You have to pass a checkpoint when you go to Davos. But there's the open forum. Everybody can go to the open forum where we have talks, just like as we have it here now. Just we have to register. But everybody can go to Davos, and Davos is a city of 10,000, 50,000 people. At that moment, even 20,000. So you cannot shut that down. So the idea of Davos Fortress is completely wrong. So Davos is really, it feels like New York. It's like so many people from everywhere at the street, even something, as we see here. This is, by the way, the same church. There was in that year, it was CNBC. By the way, the floor of this church, underneath are the benches. So there was a whole floor built over the benches of the English church from 1880 to host. First it was at CNBC and Trade Shift, and then a bar turned into the Turkey House. Many nations have pavilions. So that year it was Malaysia, it was India has several regions. I come to one just afterwards. A funny example. In that moment, probably Erdogan was in, or at least somebody that afforded diplomatic protection, because the two guys at the door are Swiss security, while the other ones on the right, these are Turkish security people. So, and here we have another some of these pairs remained before, after. So this is, of course, before, after, and after again. SAP, one of the few European companies, Accenture, a company I've never heard of. And Amazon Web Services, before it was a boutique, even an outlet. Then we here have the India Tata Pavilion, who themselves organize events. So many companies, they hire also people and organize little summits or bigger summits to show their competence in improving the state of the world, which is the official motto of the World Economic Forum since many, many years. So, a nice link. This is the welcome. So Davos is not Davos anymore for a week. This one is on the left from the business numbers from Palantir, a company that was completely inaccessible, but I somehow made it by, still made it to make a photograph inside. And on the right, I think that's what the new economy is trying to do, bringing green issues and economy together. So in that year, by the way, it was really the case that all the companies had somehow to deliver a claim that they care for the environment. These days, it was mostly about AI. The year after that, it was a lot about NFTs on the promenade. In one particular spot in Davos at the Postplatz, you can experience on a very narrow space the whole range of people that go to Davos. It seems like that from all different branches or ideas, even if writers go there to present their books, somehow there are people like feeling like to have to go to Davos now. And everybody can. If you have enough money, you can go there, rent a store, or just walk around in the street and try to find some people that you want to talk to. So here we are in front of BlackRock. And by the way, here there seems to be a luxury car hidden. So in BlackRock, yeah, of course, that's interesting. Now here comes WEF and Zurz together, Zurich and art and investment. BlackRock is the biggest investment firm in the world. The CEO, Larry Fink, is the CEO of the WEF, the founder of the thing. And Hildebrand is the vice president, I think, of BlackRock. And at the same time, the president of the Zürcher Kunstgesellschaft, who runs the Kunsthaus. So here we have the immediate, before he was Kaffee Klatsch, by the way, Kaffee Gossip. So Kaffee Gossip. And what I find also intriguing is left and right are these flames going up. And it makes a little reference for me to Rammstein. If that it's intentional, I don't know. Then on the same square, there's the climate movement celebrating or giving out free soup for those who reach Davos, because the walk was supposed to terminate in Klosters, the village before, but some of them made it through for their protest, so they were distributing free soup just next to BlackRock. And by the way, Larry Fink is one of the 100 top richest people of the world. So, and here are maybe some of the 1,000 purest people of the world. So we have this huge difference on a very, very close to each other. Next to it, a band is preparing for a concert. When you see here, Hotel Davoserhof. This is the community building, the municipality. And here we are on the top floor. You see this building, this window above the flag. This is here. This is not a Waldorf school. It is the block-based community who rented an entire space of an empty shopping center floor to build a block-based community, a year-round co-working, living, investing, holonomic life experience place. As you see, they ask for quite a lot. And here I came up, by the way, with the title of my book, or my lecture, Planetary Upgrade. Everybody in Davos at that time seems to be concerned with improving the state of the world. So this is the technological way to do it, to upgrade the planet. Can we do that, upgrade the planet? Maybe a new version. So this block base offered, or asked for many things, what they can do, or what we can do in those spaces in the SDGs. SDGs are the Sustainable Development Goal, 7 different branches defined by the United Nations, where we should be sustainable in not much time. But here it's about the inner SDGs. So this kind of esoteric club that offers also social alchemy, wisdom programs, pretended that they have a space for a year around, there will be a community, but actually the week after, they were already gone again. Interestingly, so what they actually did is also really some religious procedures, sessions. And so this was the entrance from the escalators from the empty shopping mall. Then, of course, Google was present, somebody trying to act or react to an AI tree. Then this is the Hotel Belvedere. That's where it all started, with this parallel outside use with American banks doing an extension and making a reception, and then other companies found it, wow, that's fancy to be present in Davos. Here we have the Indian Prime Minister. That's, by the way, the store I photographed the cross before with the Czech workers. And then with the Kirchenmuseum, I had quite a particular agreement. The Kirchenmuseum is renting out his spaces to Nestle, to the Chicago University, to Stanford University, and others, which are then also holding some talks like we see here. So I agreed with them that I can photograph the premises before the events are starting. And that was really a good thing, because I found some badges lying around, and they offered me then that I could enter to the Russian party, I could enter there and there and there. Once I was in that system, it was quite easy to pretend I belong there. Some thought I'm the official photographer at the party, or others didn't care. Sometimes I was standing with a tripod just in the corner. So it felt fun to be Felix Krull, you know, pretending to be someone else who belongs there. At the same time, I thought, yeah, I have also my obligation and the right to be there. I do a work with it, about it, that is at least as important as to create the next NFT. Okay, so very interesting was also the Karnataka house. These three images are inside, or for the Karnataka, this is a region in India that offers itself for three things: a place for industrial production, a place for tourism, and a place for investment. What is particularly funny about this is the former tourist board office of Davos, where the tourist in Davos was organized, and now we have here a picture that looked like river rafting at the Rhine, just a few kilometers down from Davos, and now it's hosting temporarily an Indian thing. Something similar at the Oettinger Sport. Credit Suisse is still here now, you see. So here they signed a contract for many countries of the Caspian region, under the auspices of some Swiss diplomats. On the left, Swiss diplomat; in the middle, a politician from that side; on the right, the politician. So now, how was that exhibited? I have to advance a little bit further. The Saudis were also very present. So I was thinking about, what did I learn from that? What is that actually? So this three-dimensional branding, marketing surface, which is immersive in Davos, and everybody wants to improve the world. So I showed that as a fair. And fair in German, it's Messe. Messe is also religious. Fair could be fair trade. So I made that into the planetary upgrade fair first, with these hanging textiles, pictures, and the seatable cubes, photo cubes, as the furniture of the fair booth. Here is the representation of India with the original artwork of mine on the wall. While this one here is gravity supporting an argument as a rollout banner. Actually, that's a funny story. I thought when I made it in my studio, and thought, that's fun, that's great. I knew one collector he will like that. When the opening was, after 10 minutes, the galleries came to me. That guy bought that. I said, hey, that was actually exactly him, a collector from Davos, who has a lot of signers, by the way. So he found that great, and we were all happy. And with the cubes, I can play, and the catalog, and make your own sequences. And the book, the monograph, became downsized to the catalog with the whole full program of the fair. In Wädenswil, there was only one space, so I condensed it to a lounge. And the last one was, and the ultimate one, in 2022 to 2021, the WEF did not take place. It was cancelled due to Corona. But in 2022, it collided with the next World Economic Forum. It was on a big public space on the promenade opposite Hotel Europe. Do we have time for this? Something very special happened with Russia and Ukraine. It's a very short part, I think, I want to tell that. Coffee Schneider and Bakery, for many years, had a Russian house. In the book, there's even a picture from a party inside. But in 2022, 3 months after the war started, the Ukraine oligarch Viktor Pinchuk made it possible that he got this particular premises and transformed it into a Russian war crime house. It was a 3-part multimedia installation consisting of a huge projection which was visible from the street. With destruction and dead body was visible from the street, even for children. They showed the destruction, a speech by every 30 minutes, speech by Zelensky at the UN. Then a map with the supposed committed crimes in Russia. And then a sort of humanistic, pathetic photography from a photographer. Some meters away, the Ukraine had a pavilion on their own. That's into 2020. But in 22, the Ukraine house moved to the Hotel Europe, very symbolically. They moved to the Hotel Europe and held some cultural events related to the Ukraine. Now, what I find interesting about this change from the Russia house to the Russian war crimes house is on a marketing propaganda level, the Ukraine has done the same as the Russian did to the Ukraine military-wise. They occupied their territory. And that's a very smart move. It was not, of course, the idea to win the West for the Ukrainian case, to show we want to be with you, you have to defend us as well, support us. So from that point of view, they were a step ahead of the Russians. Thank you very much for your attention.